Why can counterfeit money only be created through drawing instead of directly copying it? This is due to the so-called Moore pattern phenomenon. The lines and details on banknotes are so intricate that even the highest resolution scanners in the world cannot fully replicate them. Therefore, if you want to counterfeit money, the first thing you need is an artist. And this man named Sunny is such a genius artist. The first step in making counterfeit money is to meticulously replicate each part of the banknote by hand. Then, the front and back sides are joined together to form a complete template for the counterfeit money, which matches the pattern of genuine banknotes perfectly. The next step is the printing process, and Firoz, Sunny's childhood friend, happens to be a printing expert. The process of making the die for the banknotes is extremely complicated. It involves photocopying, repairing, wearing out, applying a protective coating, and finally drying. Once the cleaning process is completed, they can proceed with the printing stage. Since Sunny uses an outdated printing machine that can only handle one color at a time, he needs to print 4 times, clean, and change colors, and repeat these processes. After the printing is done, the banknotes are batch trimmed, an embedded shiny strip of 50 rupees is added, and a series of different sized serial numbers are printed. Thus, a perfect 500 rupees banknote is obtained. But Sunny believes that it can be even more perfect. Sunny crumples the banknotes, soaks them in tea for a while, successfully giving them an aged appearance. After a series of repetitions, all the counterfeit money has the appearance of being used. Firoz takes one of the banknotes and decides to test it at a convenience store. However, the moment the store owner touches the banknote, he immediately realizes that it's counterfeit. Firoz gets caught, but luckily Sunny arrives just in time to save the day, and they manage to escape. They wonder why their perfect replicas were discovered so easily. Upon careful comparison, they finally realize that it's not just about looking authentic but also about touching authentic. The paper they used for the counterfeit money wasn't right. As a result, they search for various paper materials in the market, trying to find a texture similar to banknotes. Eventually, they find a resemblance in the texture of a job recruitment page, but unfortunately, the thickness of the paper is insufficient. However, Sunny comes up with a solution. He bleaches the papers and then prints the front and back sides of the banknote on 2 separate papers, finally sticking them together. Meanwhile, Firoz discovers a method to create color-changing ink. By mixing metallic paint with regular ink and applying it to the counterfeit money, they achieve both color-changing effects and a simulation of the banknote's texture. Finally, following their usual practice of steeping the banknotes in tea, the new version of counterfeit money is ready. This time, Sunny is the one to test it out. As he enters the convenience store and hands over the counterfeit money, both he and Firoz are incredibly nervous. They can't believe their eyes when they see the store owner handing them a bottle of soda in return. It's a successful outcome. After successfully creating perfect counterfeit money, with the help of a gangster friend, Sunny and Firoz quickly found a buyer. Initially, the buyer was concerned about the risks involved in such a transaction. However, Sunny casually mixed one counterfeit money with 2 genuine ones and asked the buyer to identify the fake. But the buyer couldn't spot it and was left baffled. Sunny just smiled, as the counterfeit money had become so flawless that even he couldn't distinguish it. In this way, the 2 brothers secured a 20 million rupee order, with a 2-week deadline for delivery. Firoz was a bit worried upon hearing this because even printing the initial batch of 100,000 rupees was quite challenging, let alone producing 20 million. With their limited equipment and manpower, it seemed impossible to accomplish the task. However, Sunny was confident. He first convinced their uncle, who also worked at the printing press, to help them. Then he borrowed money and purchased more advanced machines. However, they couldn't afford to buy the large quantity of specialized paper required for printing and had no choice but to steal it. Though they called it stealing, the commotion they caused was more like a robbery. Late at night, Sunny and his gang of hooligans infiltrated a paper mill. To avoid suspicion, they took not just one but multiple types of paper. When they returned to the printing press, they worked day and night, with the machines running non-stop for 24 hours. Finally, within the 2-week deadline, they delivered the 20 million rupee order. After earning their first fortune, Sunny immediately upgraded their equipment. The counterfeit money, which was being produced frantically, was packaged in gift boxes and sold in the underground black market. With this huge sum of money, Sunny not only repaid the loan but also saved his grandfather's magazine publication. However, as the saying goes, there are no impenetrable walls. The circulation of these super counterfeit money soon caught the attention of the authorities. The expert's name is Mega. She did not hesitate to give up his well-paying job at the bank and join the counterfeit operation task force. On the other hand, Sunny, as his reputation grew, quickly received another massive order. The client is a well-known local official. This time they only have 2 weeks, and they need to personally deliver it across the border. Although the profit is high, can such a small workshop really accomplish it? The first thing Sunny thought of was to scale up the small workshop. He casually found a deaf and mute old man, and registered a publishing house in his name. This way, they could legally procure special paper, through proper channels, to be used for printing counterfeit money, no longer needing to risk theft. The printing work is in full swing. But tonight, the commercial printing press suddenly faced a surprise inspection, with the order due for delivery tomorrow. The final batch of counterfeit money is about to be completed, but the machines cannot be shut down at this moment. The uncle outside the door keeps delaying the time, but Mega insists on opening the door for inspection. Just a second before she approached the door, the counterfeit money were finally printed. Mega went inside and looked around. Although she didn't notice anything suspicious, she did observe the waste paper from the cutting process. Just as she was about to approach the trash bin, Sunny quietly followed. At that moment, Mega received an urgent phone call, and had to retreat temporarily. Later, Firoz discovered that Sunny was holding a wrench. But Firoz realized that Sunny had already become deeply involved. The next day, the two transported this batch of counterfeit money. As they crossed the border checkpoint, the police naturally wanted to search the vehicle. But when they opened the box containing the counterfeit money, Sunny swiftly kicked a nearby box of alcohol, deliberately making the officers believe they were smuggling liquor. The police fell for the trick, thinking the situation wasn't too serious, and that a small bribe would easily settle things. In this way, the two successfully reached their destination, exchanging a few boxes of counterfeit money for 2 large bags of genuine money. However, the joy of the two brothers didn't last long, as a series of unfortunate events unfolded, one after another, finding their way to their doorstep. Just as their elderly grandfather fell seriously ill, requiring urgent brain surgery, the hospital's waiting list seemed endless. On the other hand, international counterfeit criminals, like Mansoor, had piles of counterfeit money in their warehouse, with no one daring to buy them, leaving them in a major dilemma. When Mansoor witnessed Sunny's counterfeit money, that could fool the counterfeit detection machines, he immediately sent his men to capture the two brothers. Mansoor greatly admired Sunny's skills. Using flattery and threats, he invited him to join their gang. But this time, they aimed to create not just 500 rupee counterfeit money, but the more challenging 2000 rupee banknotes. Mansoor had perfect paper, exactly like the one used by the government, and the equipment was not a concern. Their base was located overseas, with covert support from the local government, ensuring complete safety. Sunny's responsibility was solely the design. The design of the 2000 rupee banknotes was more complex than any previous denomination, with intricate details, involving 14 different size patterns, and 17 different fonts, making it nearly impossible to replicate. However, note that he used the word nearly. With the most advanced machines and perfect design, Sunny could make it come true. He didn't need to achieve perfection. Just make the counterfeit detection machines believe it was perfect. After continuous improvement in the counterfeit money's details, Sunny successfully replicated the perfect 2000 rupee counterfeit money. Finally, Mansoor's printing machines were ready to start working. The next day, Sunny received a notification from the hospital, saying that the top specialist suddenly had availability, and his grandfather's surgery could be scheduled immediately. Sunny instantly understood that it was Mansoor's gesture of gratitude, but it also meant that the lives of his entire family were now in Mansoor's hands. Sunny had no way out. Coincidentally, one of Mansoor's right-hand men was accidentally arrested, elevating Sunny's position within the gang. Besides his design work, he also had to confront the police task force head-on. To gather information from them, Sunny targeted Mega, the expert in counterfeit detection, within the task force. He pretended to strike up a conversation at a cafe, and when he learned that Mega was currently renting a house, he immediately used his connections to do her a big favor. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Sunny planted a spy program on Mega's phone. From then on, Sunny could monitor all of Mega's communications with the police. Not long after, Mansoor's new batch of counterfeit money was fully printed, with a staggering total of 120 billion rupees, ready to enter the market for circulation. Until now, the game of cat and mouse had just begun. The batch of counterfeit money amounts to 120 billion rupees. Even the most advanced counterfeit detection machines cannot determine their authenticity. If these counterfeit monies successfully circulate, it will be the worst counterfeit case in India's history, resulting in the complete collapse of the country's financial system. But how can such a large sum of money be introduced into the market? This is the current headache for the leader of the counterfeit ring, Mansoor. However, Sunny seems to have complete confidence. He claims to have planted an informant within the police force. With this leverage, Mansoor promises him a 15% commission. However, the challenge lies in transporting the counterfeit money back to the country. Through information obtained from Megha's phone, Sunny discovers that all the routes previously used by Mansoor have been compromised by the police. Sunny must devise a new plan, codenamed Trojan Horse. The plan unfolds as follows. Sunny uses his connections to acquire an old ship that is scheduled for decommissioning. He purchases the ship from the captain for $80,000. Within 3 days, the ship carrying the counterfeit money can safely arrive in India. Simultaneously, counterfeit money of relatively smaller denominations is intentionally circulated across various locations in the country, totaling a few billion rupees, which is insignificant compared to the 120 billion. Megha tests these counterfeit money on the detection machines and realizes they are old versions, leading the police to fall into a trap. Meanwhile, Sunny and his team have already set sail and are smoothly progressing on their mission. However, an unexpected situation arises on the day before the ship's arrival. Many police gather at the destination port and begin searching every vessel. The Trojan Horse plan is forced to be cancelled. Sunny urgently demands the captain to turn back, as being caught red-handed is imminent. However, the ship lacks sufficient fuel to return, and anchoring in the deep sea is not possible. Just when Sunny is out of options, the captain comes up with a bolder plan, steering the ship directly towards Mumbai. The team installs GPS trackers on the cargo containers and submerges them in shallow waters, only 15 meters deep, before abandoning the ship and escaping in lifeboats. In the evening, an unmanned ship drifts ashore in Mumbai, capturing the full attention of the police. Meanwhile, Sunny and his team retrieve the submerged cargo from the shallow waters in the middle of the night.